Here we have one more problem, a similar problem. You have to pick out the correct graph in my math lab. Y equals the cotangent of 3x plus pi over 6. A is 1, B is 3, and C is pi over 6, and D is 0. So to find the period, you pi over b, so that would be pi over 3. The x increments, so you can plot your correct points, pi over 3 times 1/4 is pi over 12. The left asymptote, you said whatever's inside the parentheses, the phase shift, equal to 0, because that's where the cotangent is undefined. So 3x plus pi over 6 equals 0. You solve for x and you get negative pi over 18. Bring the 1/6 over and then divide by 3. The right asymptote, you set it equal to pi. Again, that's where the cotangent is undefined. You get subtract pi over 6. You get 5 pi over 6. Divide by 3, 5 pi over 18. Okay. Now let's find the key points. Your left asymptote is negative pi over 18, and your increment is pi over 12. So to find my other three key points, I have to get the least common denominator, which in this case is 36. So I multiply the negative pi over 18 by 2 and the pi over 12 by 3. So negative 2 plus 3 is pi over 36, and of course the cotangent starts with 1. Then I add another 3 pi over 36, which gives me 4 pi over 36 right here. And I have 0 as my y value. And the next key point would be 4 pi over 36 plus 3 pi over 36 is 7 pi over 36. And there the corresponding value is negative 1. And of course now, just to check myself, I have to come up with the right asymptote as my last point, or in this case asymptote. 7 plus 3 pi over 30 is 10 pi over 36, so this should be a 6. And if you reduce it, you get 5 pi over 18. So now let's take a look at the choices you have in my math lab. Here's the problem, and here are your choices. Now, especially for the tangent and the cotangent, to pick out the right graph, sometimes look by process of elimination. Now, if I look at those three graphs, I can see right away that C cannot be the correct answer because C is not a cotangent. C represents a tangent. So just by process of elimination, you can already eliminate C. Cannot be an answer. Now we're looking at A or B. Now, of course I have to maximize that because I can't see that. So here you go. Now I look at my key points. And I can also see that my asymptotes are not the key points that I have found. My left asymptote was negative pi over 18. Which definitely is not the case with this graph. So let's look at the other one. Here we can see, I can't draw on this, but you can see right here that if I draw, it's an invisible line, but if I were to draw a line, a vertical line, a left asymptote, that's about negative pi over 18. So I look at my left asymptotes and I look at my right asymptotes. So here we have one that was, what was it, pi over 36. So look at your points that you have. But mainly how I determine which one is the correct graph is I always look at the asymptotes. So B is the correct graph as we have right here. So a lot of these problems with the cotangent and tangent really also depend on process of elimination. because there's usually one or two graphs that you have that cannot be the answer.